Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jesse, and welcome to my wrestling show, where we talk about all things wrestling: folk style wrestling, freestyle wrestling, high school wrestling, college wrestling, NCAA wrestling. Um, I want this channel to end up competing with some of those big wrestling media companies out there. There's really only two media wrestling news companies out there, and I think that needs to change. I think there needs to be more, and I want this channel to compete with those guys. So like, subscribe, comment. Let's talk wrestling. Let's grow a community around the sport we love. So let's look at some lineup previews. This time I want to take a look at the Ohio State Buckeyes, and look at their lineup going into the 2022-2023 season. So I really like this lineup. This is going to be a really, really good team. So let's go through it real quick, and then we'll take a look at the rankings. 125, Malik Heinzelman, been the starter for a few years now. Gets better every single year. That's going to be a reoccurring theme with the Buckeyes. They get better every year. 133, WrestleStat has it listed as Andre Gonzalez. Common speculation, think it'll be either Nick Bouzakis or Jesse Mendez. 141, returning starter of Dylan Emilio. 149, returning national finalist of 2 years ago, multiple-time All-American, known commodity Sammy Sasso. New start in the lineup, Pally Gallagher, redshirted last year, high level, highly ranked recruit, #1 in his class, I think, coming out of high school. Carson Karchla, returning All-American. Ethan Smith, Caleb Romero, Gavin Hoffman, and Tate Orndorff. So let's go through it. Let's look at the rankings. Let's talk about what are their ceilings and what is their floor. Okay, this is what I really like about Malik Heinzelman. He's ranked at number 11. That's probably about right, considering some of his wins and losses last year. But this is what we need to know to Malik Heinzelman. He started as a true freshman, and he qualified for the national tournament, but he was just so-so, right? No real threat to All-American, but every single year he gets better. So what I want to see from him is, can he take that next step? Right now, as the wrestler he is today, or that he was last season, he can wrestle with Noah Certain, Matt Ramos, Trevor Mastrogiovanni. I know he lost to Brandon Kaylor and Eric Barnett, but these guys aren't so good that Malik Heinzelman can't close the gap. So if he takes another step, I really think he can wrestle up here with the Brandy Courtney, Eric Barnett, Pat McKees of the world. Yeah, it's going to be really tough to catch a Spencer Lee. It's going to be really tough to catch a Patrick Glory. But really below that, Michael D'Agostino, Patrick McKee, Brandon Courtney, they're all very similar in skill level. I think there's a little bit of a drop off right after Eric Barnett to Brandon Kaylor. It drops off a little bit. So if Malik Heinzelman takes the next step, he could solidify right in this kind of 7 spot. And if the bracket breaks down right, or he gets hot, he could certainly get up in this 3-4 range. So I'm going to say ceiling, I'm going to say 4 or 5 for Malik Heinzelman. The floor, probably a blood round. I expect him to get into the blood round. I think he's going to beat a Noah Certain. Anthony Noto wrestles super hard, but I think he's going to beat a Joey Prado, a Jack Medley, even a Robbie Howard most of the time. I'd even say 9 times out of 10. But can he take that next step and get into that All-American status? Remember, he gets better every year. 133. It's going to be Jesse Mendez or Nick Bouzakis. I have no idea which one. If I were to guess, I would say Jesse Mendez, but not sure. So here's the thing with true freshmen. You never quite know what you're going to get, but they get a lot better really quickly. So if it's Jesse Mendez, don't be surprised if he takes a couple lumps early on. He loses to some of these fringe qualifiers. If he loses to a Joe Heilman or a, Chance Rich. Sometimes that happens with true freshmen. They get so much better as they get more reps and more matches. And so the sky's really the limit for him. This is the good thing. He's been out in the streets. He's competed in senior level opens, senior level tournaments. He's competed with the best guys. And so coming into this level of competition in college isn't going to be new for him. So I think that bodes well for his growth and his potential. Ceiling with a true freshman, as good as he is, I'll say his ceiling is maybe 6, right? And that's if everything just goes right. It's so hard for a true freshman to really All-American. Most of the times you typically only see maybe 2 every year of true freshman All-American. But if there's one that's going to do it this year, it can certainly be Jesse Mendez or Nick Bouzakis if he gets the start. So I'm going to put a really high ceiling of 5 or 6. But again, because he's a true freshman, the floor is going to be kind of low. You feel pretty good he's going to qualify. I'd say the floor maybe be around a 24, around a 16 kind of guy if he goes 1 and 2, 2 and 2 at the tournament. That's probably the floor out of either Jesse Mendez or Nick Bouzakis. But again, Ohio State, they get better consistently, so they're going to get better as the year goes on. I'm going to sound like a broken record. Dylan Emilio, he has gotten so much better every year. If you think back to his true freshman year, even his redshirt year, he had some, I'll say it, bad losses where it's like, this guy's may not pan out, but he just keeps getting better every year, taking steps. So he's currently ranked at number 8. 2 things here. 1, 8 is probably a generous ranking for his results. But this weight class is wide open. If there are no guys in this weight class that can't be beaten. There's not a top dog that's the surefire gonna be national champ or national finalist. I mean, Dylan Emilio could end up anywhere in this bunch of guys. And so this weight class is wide open to move up and down. So I'll say ceiling for Dylan Emilio, I'll say 4. He could obviously beat a CJ Composto, an Andrew Alirez, a Clay Carlson. The floor, right? I'm going to say maybe around a 16. A 2 and 2 kind of result would probably be his floor, because I'm expecting him to take that next jump to get even better. So while last year I think he finished 1 and 2 at the tournament, what did he do? Yeah, he went 1 and 2 at the tournament. I'm expecting him to take a jump, so I would say his floor is 2 and 2. And if he takes a really big jump, I mean, he can land on the All-American podium. 149, Sammy Sasso. Really not much to say here. He's so good. His ceiling, number 1. Obviously, Yanni is dang good, and Sammy has struggled wrestling him, quite frankly. But to say a national finalist, a caliber of wrestler like Sammy Sasso can't get there, I'm not going to say that, right? You're probably not going to pick it, but he can do it. His floor is probably number 3 right here. He lost to Austin Gomez twice last year. I'm counting on him to figure that out. And you feel pretty good he's going to give himself a chance to get back into the national finals, get a couple matches back, beat Austin Gomez. So the good thing about Sammy Sasso, really high floor at number 3. Ceiling 2, 1 is probably a ceiling. So you kind of know what you're getting there with Sammy Sasso. 157, Paddy Gallagher. So Paddy Gallagher, I'll say he's a little bit of an unknown, honestly. The only reason I say that is because he has wrestled some matches. However, he doesn't really have a marquee win. They put him here at number 22. that's probably fine. I don't know what they're basing that off of, because he really doesn't have any super high level marquee wins. But he was the #1 recruit out of his recruiting class. He's at Ohio State. He's going to get better every year. I'd be shocked if he didn't finish 22 or higher at the national tournament. So you think he's going to qualify because of his results and that he doesn't have a marquee win. You're not going to really say he's going to All-American. I would say his ceiling probably round to 16 is probably his ceiling, and then the floor probably 1 and 2 at the national tournament round to 24. You know, he probably could get the blood round. Again, you just don't know. You don't know how good he is yet. So I'd really like to see him at the Cliff King Las Vegas tournament and some matches, and see what he looks like before you can go and say, you know, Kendall Coleman, tough wrestler, Jake Keating, tough wrestler. My gut reaction says Paddy Gallagher can wrestle with those guys, but we just don't have evidence of that yet. So excited to see what we get from him. 165. Here you have, Carson Karchla. So Carson Karchla, man, he's so good. I think this ranking, I mean, I know why they put him here at #7, because he lost to Dean Hamidi at Big Tens. My perception of Carson Karchla is #4. I think Quincy Monday, I just heard, is going to bump back down to 157. I know it was rumored he's bumping up, and that's why they have him ranked here, but I think he is going to go back down to 157. But my perception of Carson Karchla is #4. And to be honest, I'd love to see him against a Shane Griffith. Between these top 3 guys, Keegan O'Toole, Shane Griffith, David Carr, I put Shane Griffith 3rd, personally, and I'd love to see that match of Carson Karchla versus Shane Griffith. I give Carson Karchla, definitely give him a shot to win that. So Carson Karchla ceiling, I'll say 3rd. I know he wrestled Keegan O'Toole really tough, almost beat him. He's a national champ, so I'm going to say his ceiling is 3rd. His floor is honestly probably 7. I'm looking at this list. I don't think he loses to anyone ranked below him. I mean, Peyton Hall is really good, but after Peyton Hall, there's a little bit of a drop off here, and so Carson Karchla's not losing anyone 9 below, unless it's just a wild, crazy match. So floor of 7, ceiling of 3, and even David Carr. I mean, I'd love to see him up against David Carr. I mean, it feels weird to say Carson Karchla has a ceiling of 3 when, to be honest, his ceiling is probably 1. He could probably win a national title. So, and again, he just gets better. He definitely got better from his freshman year to his sophomore year. So excited to see what he does. 174. So Ethan Smith at #6. Going to sound like a little bit of a broken record for Carson Karchla, Ethan Smith, and Caleb Romero. But think about Ethan Smith's career. He gets better every single year. He's ranked here at #6, and to be honest, I think 6 is probably his floor here. Could he lose to maybe some of these guys? Yeah, maybe, but not consistently. You're going to take Ethan Smith to basically win all these matches 9 times out of 10. His ceiling, I'm going to put him at 4. He could certainly beat a Clay Lout. He can certainly beat a Dustin Plott. Before I can say he can beat a Mikey Labriola, Makai Lewis, a Carter, I'm going to have to see it. He hasn't proven that yet. And so a ceiling of 4. So you have a high ceiling and a high floor. So you feel dang good he's going to All-American and score some points for your team at the national tournament. Eisen might even pick him over Dustin Plott and Clay Lout. But those 2 tiers are pretty distinct to me. You got Carter, Makai, and Mikey in tier 1, and Dustin, Clay, and Ethan in tier 2. And then everyone else. Alright, Caleb Romero. Oh, let's click over to 184. Caleb Romero, he's currently ranked at number 4th. Okay, so this is going to sound weird. Again, Caleb Romero gets better every single year. Really tough wrestler. I'm going to say his ceiling is 4 and his floor is 4. I know that sounds strange, but that's really how I view this weight class. You got the top 3 big dogs that have kind of been on top for, Aaron Brooks, Parker Keckheisen, and Trent Hidley, and no one's beaten those guys. And then Caleb's on a tier of his own. Like, I don't think Marcus Coleman, Trey Munoz, Jonathan Lowe. I'm not going to pick those guys to beat Caleb Romero. And so, obviously, depending on how the bracket draws, Caleb could end up, Parker and Trent could wrestle each other and in the quarterfinals and knock each other out earlier, and Caleb could get 3rd or whatever, how the bracket breaks down. But I'm going to say ceiling of 4, floor of 4. So again, a higher ceiling and a really high floor. So you feel good. And again, he keeps getting better every year. So can he catch Trent? Can he catch Parker? Can he catch Aaron? If he takes another step, right, he's got to continue to take those steps every single year that he has, and he can maybe catch those guys. 197, Gavin Hoffman went on his wild run at the NCAA tournament, and then his semifinal slide down to 6th. Ranked at number 9. That's probably fair based on his results. This number 9 ranking is based off his national tournament finish. So the question is, he had some really good results. He won some good matches. Can he maintain that, right? Or is he going to slide back down into a 15 to 20 type guy? Because that's what he was going into the tournament. Into the tournament, he was 15 to 20. That's where he lived. And then he had a stellar tournament, and so he gets the number 9 seeds, and so he deserves it. But can he maintain that? Can he take the next step? The tough part with this weight class is 197 is so deep. You don't have anybody who's quite like a Gable Stevenson or a Yanni or a Spencer, who's just like head over heels above, better than everyone else. But you have a lot of really tough guys. I mean, all these guys are really tough. Nino Bonacorsi, national finalist. Even down here to Isaac Trumbull. Isaac Trumbull has beaten Nino Bonacorsi 3 times. He's beaten Rocky Elam. He beat Cam Caffey at the U.S. Open or the World Team Trials, one of the two. Cordell Norfleet, he's been around forever. Braxton Amos, all the way down to 20. These guys are pretty darn good. And so it's a really deep weight class. And he's going to have to show that he can consistently be beating these top guys. So looking forward to his season. And finally, Tate Orndorff, ranked at number 7, All-American. This is the good thing about Tate. He does not lose to guys that are ranked lower than him. He just doesn't get upset. His worst loss was Christian Lance from Nebraska last year, who lost in the blood round, right? Really good caliber guy. And so Tate Orndorff just doesn't lose to these lower ranked guys. And so you feel that's going to give him a shot. He's not going to get upset in round 1 or round 2. He's going to give himself a chance in the quarterfinals to potentially pull off an upset. Because he wrestled these guys tough. He wrestles Slavakuski tough. I can't remember their match last year. I'm pretty sure they wrestled. Close match. So can he come in here and, keep matches close, get them to the quarterfinals, keep the match close, pick off one of these matches, maybe against a Slavakuski or Lucas Davison, make the semifinals, or catch him in the blood round on the backside and become an All-American. So I'm going to say his ceiling is probably number 5. I'm not going to say he can beat these top 4 guys here. They're kind of tier 1. And I view Tate kind of in the tier 2 range. And so the good thing is, because he doesn't have bad losses, his floor is probably like 10 or 11. So a ceiling of 5. Trent Hilger's really good. He's an All-American. Zach Elam. I think Tate probably beats him most of the time. I know Trent's ranked below Zach. I actually view Trent as, my perception of Trent is a little bit higher than Zach Elam. And so his floor is blood round. I expect Tate to be in the blood round, give him a chance to be an All-American. So going into this season, you have Ohio State ranked at number 4. And I'm going to say that they have a lot of upside, man. They have so much upside. Malik can go up. You know, they're getting no points at 133. Jesse can certainly get some points. Emilio was 11, I think, in Intermat. He can get points. Sammy Sasso was 3. I said his floor was 3, so he can certainly go up. There's just so much potential. Carson Kirchler was 7. He's probably going to go up. And so, how many All-Americans? You have a chance at Malik can All-American 1, Jesse can All-American. I mean, every single weight class you have a chance to get an All-American. Probably going to be tough for Patty Gallagher. He's going to be somewhat of a long shot. But at the end of the year, if you say Patty Gallagher, the #1 recruit coming out of high school, All-American, not that surprised, right? It's like, okay, I didn't expect it, but he's a little bit unknown. He proved himself. He was an All-American. You expect Carson to All-American. You expect Ethan. You expect Caleb. Gavin, it's going to be tough at 197. He's done it before. He can do it again. Tate, he can certainly do it. So you have all these bullets that potentially can be All-Americans. So can they catch Penn State? Probably not. But can they win the Big Ten tournament? And the answer is yes. It's teams like this that maybe they can't catch them at the national tournament, but they can win the conference tournament, right? Just like the Ohio State team of 2017, when they kind of snuck up on Penn State and stole the Big Ten title right there at the end. It's teams like this where a Malik Heinzelman, or probably a best case, a good scenario would be like Ethan Smith at 174. So Ethan Smith at 174 at the national tournament, let's say he places 6th and Carter places 1st, right? That's a big point gap from 1st to 6th. That's 25 points. In 6th place, you get maybe 8. That's a big point gap. At the Big Ten tournament, Ethan Smith's going to make the finals or place 3rd, right? Maybe he beats Mikey Labriola and makes the finals. And so that point gap is a lot closer. And so Ohio State, if they get 10 guys that place 3rd, 2nd, or 1st at the Big Ten tournament, they're probably winning that darn thing. And so Ohio State can win a team trophy. They can win the Big Ten championship. They can get 7 or 8 All-Americans. It's going to be a good year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. A lot to be excited about coming into this season. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this preview. I hope you're excited for the 2022-2023 season. Subscribe, like, comment. Let's grow this channel. Let's talk about wrestling. See you next time, guys. Thanks.